Hello, my name is James Follett, and I'm in Fool Hollow State Recreation Area in Arizona. I thought I'd give you a definition of what the environment is. It's quite simple, really. It's where we are on the surface of planet Earth. It's a place where water flows freely without any obstruction. Air can be breathed without environmental certs. And vegetation can grow and provide the benefits for living organisms. But what is it? I mean, really, what is it? Well, some people say we need to save the planet, but actually the planet's just fine. It's actually our environment where we exist and we can breathe the air, because basically there's no place on this, there's no place in the solar system where we have the benefits of this environment that we live in. We have gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared. Nowhere else. It's mostly lighter than that. If you colonized Mars and you had children there, they could not walk freely like I am doing right now on planet Earth, because their gravity on Mars is 1/6 that of Earth. And their muscles could not handle this gravity. It'd be more than they could handle. They'd have to be in wheelchairs or wear a special exosuit. We have air to breathe. I don't have to wear a helmet or environmental gear because I can breathe the air. And what is the air? Well, it's basically a combination of oxygen, nitrogen, 21% oxygen, about 75% nitrogen, I believe. I could be mistaken. The rest is different types of inert gases: neon, argon, krypton, helium, hydrogen. But the most extraordinary thing about our atmosphere is that it has nitrogen in it, because the nitrogen keeps the oxygen from combusting and incinerating everything on this planet. If there was nothing but oxygen in our atmosphere right now, and someone lit a match, it would torch the entire surface of our planet, because oxygen burns readily when it's by itself. But nitrogen acts as I don't know the proper chemical term, but it keeps it from combusting. And that's beneficial for us. Then there's all this green stuff. Look at this tree. You've all seen trees before, but we take them for granted. For a very big reason, this tree is extremely beneficial to us, because this is a living oxygen factory. This tree takes carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, cuts the carbon off, and throws the oxygen back into the atmosphere. The carbon is then used to build bark, wood, twigs, leaves, pine needles, pine cones, everything. Basically, when you look at a forest, you see, oh, that's just a bunch of trees. To me, I look at organisms that are literally made out of thin air. All of these plants, anything that's green and growing, it's all made out of thin air. It takes the carbon out of the atmosphere and builds itself up. Nowhere else in our solar system does this happen. And all these organisms that eat vegetation, in essence, they are basically indirectly made out of thin air. As are we all. Even if we are carnivorous and eat meat, the meat we eat is an animal that fed on the grass. We're all made out of thin air. That's rather amazing. And look at that sky, blue sky. We take that for granted too. That's a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. Nowhere in our solar system but here. So how is all this possible? How am I able to ride my bicycle across the ground? Well, how shall I say? What keeps our environment intact is our atmosphere. What keeps the atmosphere intact is the electromagnetic field of this planet. What keeps the electromagnetic field intact is the iron nickel core of our planet. And what keeps all of this safe, the planet, the electromagnetic field, the atmosphere, are the major planets in our solar system, like Jupiter, which absorbs 75% of the asteroids that come in this area. The sun, a very rare yellow dwarf star, intercepts 25%. Our own moon catches quite a few too, even now. These three bodies protect us from a lot of impacts, but we still get them. There's scars all over the planet. Yucatan Peninsula is the site of a major asteroid that killed off the dinosaurs. The Harrington crater in Arizona. It's a meteor that was about the size of a bus. It impacted 47,000 years ago. Caused a lot of devastation. So, the environment is really special. It's the only place where we can walk around freely, breathe air freely, drink the water freely. On Mars, water can't exist in liquid form because it all evaporates into nothing. Back into the space, because there's hardly any atmosphere there. And the electromagnetic field is not strong enough to protect what atmosphere it once had, so all the water vaporized. Our field is very strong because about, I don't know how many miles below our feet, there's a nickel core, solid, spinning. Basically, it's a conductor of electricity. It allows our electromagnetic field to form as it spins. And surrounding it is a liquid iron metal medium that's so hot that it remains liquid metal. And why is it liquid metal? Well, current theory is that radioactive elements have sunk to the core, and their radioactivity heats up the metal and liquefies it. Except for the iron nickel core, which is solid and can't be liquefied by this material. Then there's the mantle. Then there's this crust that we're sitting on right now. 35 miles thick tectonic plates that move around. And from this level to 10 miles up is the air we breathe. After 10 miles, it gets rather cold. The atmosphere moves quite a ways up there, even to where the International Space Station is at this present time. We're living in what's called the troposphere.